Can you share about the human rights perspectives on the post-COVID response of government functions and the civil society?
Actually, using the war framework against is against peace and human rights. Use of war as a framework or metaphor in combating a pandemic is very dangerous, as shown in the experience of the country in Manipur, Kashmir, and elsewhere. The framework dictates the following: how the problem is perceived, who are the key actors in addressing the problem, what is the major strategy and methodology in addressing the problem, and who are the enemies to be targeted. So given this, war against corona brought unprecedented attacks on life, liberty, equality, and dignity of people across geographical, linguistic, national, sub-national boundaries. Cruel and inhuman treatment of individuals, mostly migrant workers, urban poor, peasants, minorities, women, PWs, LGBTs, sex workers, and others. State-run physical, mental torture, humiliations, illegal arrest, detention, threats, fabricated cases, then corruption in purchase, distribution of protection PPE, relief distribution, money transfer, and favoritism. Even lack of transparency and accountability, these are some aspects, and communalization, polarization of socio-political environment. These are some of the key things I wanted to share. And some examples: right to health. Two aspects. One, pushing the other medical priorities to backseat. Second, failure to prevent crowds and physical contacts in buses, terminals, railway stations, roads. When the migrant workers are returning, the whole social distancing is becoming a joke. It is not because of the migrant workers, rather the situation, environment, the state created, that is the reason. Then protection of health workers, shortage of protection equipments, and suspicion on the quality of protection equipments. There is a huge corruption in this PPE procurement, and they're trying to cover it. Access to information, only 4 hour notice before going, before lockdown, countrywide lockdown goes against the essence of this right, as it left the people clueless and unprepared. No information with the people, even the lawmakers were in dark about the government plans and strategies. Even government do not know what they will do tomorrow. That is completely unplanned, unprepared. Then right to free movement, unplanned, unnecessary restriction on movements that affected life, livelihood, healthcare, and other activities. Then right to privacy, lack of confidentiality of potentially infected persons resulted in threats and ostracization. Then misuse of Aadhaar, biometric IDs, and Arogya Setu. There is lots of suspicion that MHA, Minister of Home Affairs, is using these IDs, Arogya Setu and Aadhaar, to track the so-called terrorists, so-called anti-nationals. That's a attack on right to privacy. The right to freedom of religion and minority rights, targeting, demonizing religious minorities, minority groups, social boycotting, refusal of health and other services. The patient, minority patient, a Muslim patient was denied. He was at dialysis. He was in need of dialysis. He was not allowed in Odisha, Bhubaneswar, and subsequently he died. In many places, this is happening. Restricting Muslim vendors and Christians, Muslim social workers to enter into villages, urban colonies for relief. Then right to life and livelihood. War against COVID-19 converted into a war against migrant workers, businessmen, farmers, and others. Rise of hate speech targeting minority groups, denial of minority patients to hospitals, mob violence, police action against minorities. Right to equality, discrimination in the delivery of public services to tackle COVID-19, knowing fully well about the structural inequalities that impede their access to them. The existing services people are not able to access because of structural inequalities. And again, the whole framework, whole mechanism, example, the uploading in the portal, and those things creating further discrimination against the migrant workers, peasants, that is happening. Disproportionate effects on certain communities, workers, urban poor, minorities, marginalized communities due to loss of livelihood, lack of food, shelter, health, other basic needs. Sudden lockdown failed the workers and peasants to access equal opportunity on the issue of food security, adequate shelter, healthcare, medical facilities, movement, socio-psychological wellness. These failed workers. Then similarly, targeted hate campaigns, police actions that prevents the Muslims, Christian minorities from observing their religious practices, which is not in the case of majority community. These are some examples. And the whole is weakening democracy and human rights. It is given rising of ethno-nationalism, populism, authoritarianism, pushing human rights to backseat. Crisis provides pretext to adequate repressive measures for purposes unrelated to pandemic. Heavy-handed security responses undermine the health response, can exacerbate existing threats to peace and security, or create new ones. The rise of hate speech and targeting of vulnerable groups. These are the, and what we need now. We need protecting human rights is fundamental to the success of the public health response and recovery from the pandemic. So the government must be transparent, responsive, accountable. They must protect the civic space for media, civil society organizations, and others to take action to mitigate the worst impacts of COVID-19 on job, livelihood, access to basic services, family life of workers, farmers, and other vulnerables. Then emergency measures, including state declared emergency, that must be legal, proportionate, necessary, non-discriminatory, and have a specific focus on duration and take the least intrusive approach possible to protect public health. To conclude, I quote UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michael Bachelet, said that emergency powers should not be a weapon government can wield to quash dissent, control the population, and even perpetuate their time in power. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dhirendra. Probably that last quote is very important. How government is using the emergency situation to exert their more power and minimizing the rights. So as John has suggested, what are the new alternatives? Alternatives to the war, warriors, the migrant sacrifice we need to promote in terms of the human rights protection also. In terms of when judiciary today has rejected to hearing on the migrant workers plea, as they died on the railway lines in Maharashtra. So we know how the judiciary is working. So in that context, the space available for the human rights is very limited. So we need to find very alternative ways, and we need to question legally probably this NDMA Act or the Disease Control Emergency Situation Act gives the government that right to withdraw or suspend the basic fundamental and rights and the human rights also.